Okay, social norms and thinking outside the box. Everything we know is a social construct, something somebody made up and said, this is what we're going to do. This is what is acceptable. This is what's normal, etc., etc. Now, because of that, as we grow up, everything we know and do is shaped by it. We are almost taught how to think and how to feel. What's normal to us is it all depends on where we live, the area we're in, climate, the people we're around, right? The activities you're into or your hobbies. There's always like rules and etiquette and culture within that. And so what is normal is based on the group collaborative, everyone agreeing like this is the way it should be done because we've trialed and errored it. Typically, right? Now, the problem with that is once we see or understand like a certain thing. So let's just take archery for example, right? Like a group of archers is going to have their own normalcy. They're going to have their own vocabulary for the things that are relevant to that activity. Now, that those same words could mean something else in regards to another activity, right? But what's normal within that community is set because it's relevant, right? Now, the other side of that is we typically will generalize. And this can fall into like a racism type thing where because one set group does things a certain way, we generalize it and say, okay, well, that's the group collaborative and that's how they all do it this way. That's not the case. Sorry about the text messages, guys. Just ignore that. And so we can't generalize everything. At the same time, I've said this before, anything I say can be countered, right? We can't generalize everything, but at the same time, like a stereotype, there is some truth to it, right? Now, you don't want to use that part that is true to judge people, but at the same time, you can take that information and apply it to your life to set yourself up for the best case scenarios and to avoid certain problems, right? Now, again, it gets very tricky and you have to know when and where to apply this because when you generalize it, it becomes, there's a very fine line between like judging a general group versus just understanding a general group. We have these normalcies, right? Whatever we deem normal. But none of us are normal because everyone is unique. Everyone likes different things. Everyone has different hobbies. Everyone has different thoughts. So none of us are normal because none of us are the same. Now, there's groups of us that are similar and we think a certain type of way or we can agree on certain things. But we're not all the same. When we grow up and we're going through school, we're taught, okay, you have to go to school. If you don't go to school, you're going to get in trouble, right? When we drive on the road, there's set lines on the freeways, on the streets that you're supposed to stay between, right? It's legal for you, or it's illegal for you to go outside of some of those lines, depending on the circumstances, right? This is the whole, we live in a gray world with black and white rules. We have black and white laws that say, hey, stay within the lines, right? As a kid, you learn when you're coloring in a coloring book, like color within the lines. That's something we're taught that we develop and believe is normal. But the reality and the truth is you don't have to stay within the lines, right? When I'm driving on a road, for the longest time, I'm always like, okay, you got to stay between the lines, right? You can't go outside of it. But recently, maybe 3 months ago or something, I went off-roading. And that teaches you that, a car can actually go off the beaten path. And that opened my eyes in a way that showed, okay, here is the road I'm typically driving on. But if there is some kind of a crazy accident or an animal or something in the road that's blocking me, it's perfectly acceptable for me to go around it, right? I may go outside of the lines. I may go on the wrong side of the road, whatever it is to avoid further catastrophe. Now, that same idea, or that same concept of kind of sometimes deviating outside of the set boundaries, right? At the end of that trip, you're still going to reach your destination. You've just taken a different path. Now, imagine if it's not just swerving to avoid like a box or something on the road, right? Imagine if you take a detour, like you're following your GPS, which again is pre-programmed in a set route, but you don't have to follow that route because the moment you make a wrong turn or do something off, it'll recalculate and readjust and tell you how you can still reach your destination. Life is very much like that. We all believe we have to do certain things to achieve certain things. Oh, I want to have a lot of money. That means I have to work. What do I know about work? I got to have a 9-to-5 job that pays well and gives me benefits, et cetera, right? That's what we know to be true. But that's just one truth. That's staying between the lines. We can step outside of that. There are other ways to make ends meet. There are other ways to make income. There's other ways to thrive. But they don't teach you that. It's something you have to figure out on your own and understand that, hey, this is what I grew up knowing. That's what I grew up knowing, but that's not the only way to reach the destination I want, to achieve my dreams. I can go about it a different way. I can step outside the lines and the boundaries. And when you do that, like let's say you're driving and you do make a wrong turn. You beat yourself up and you're like, damn, like I got to make U-turns now. I got to go reroute. It added 5 minutes to my trip. That sucks. But if you focus on the part that sucks and it's like, damn, that was an inconvenience, then you're not taking in whatever you can be taking in. Let's say you took a wrong turn and it led you down a path with better scenery. Or let's say the company you're with, the people in your car, you now have an extra 5 minutes with them. You now have this shared experience where you guys can joke about, remember we made that wrong turn and we drove past this thing we saw, and it becomes like a memory. But if you're so focused on staying within the lines and doing things a certain way, and you kind of beat yourself up over it, you're closing your mind off to the better side of it and those other experiences. So keep that in mind, like just keep an open mind. The things we think we know aren't the only way it has to be. We can choose our own path. It doesn't have to be the set path that our society has laid out for us. Go to school, get a job, work until you retire, then enjoy your life. Fuck that. I want to enjoy life today. But how can I do that in a way that I'm happy? And every single person is going to have a different answer because we like different things. We want different things out of life. And the route we choose is up to us. It does not have to be the route that's laid out in front of us from an early age. You don't have to work a 9-to-5. That's a choice. And it's a choice to be unhappy Monday through Friday and live for Saturday and Sunday. I don't have a traditional job. I do whatever the fuck I want every single day. And I couldn't be happier, right? At the same time, I do need to figure out how to make ends meet. And that's part of the path I'm on, where I'm not on a traditional path. But at the same time, my happiness has increased exponentially because I'm no longer following society's guidelines on how I'm supposed to do things. And I'm listening to myself and saying, how do I want to do it? Once we understand where the lines are on the road or what the rules are, we also understand, or we can start to understand, how flexible that is. Where can we bend the rules? Where can we break the rules without causing any harm and then end up back on that same path anyway? All of this is just a different way of thinking. It's a different mindset. So with that, what I want you guys to take from this is think about it. What do you want to do? What is your goal? Then how do you achieve it? Like what is it that you have to do to achieve it? Then you tailor it to how do you want to achieve it? What is your way? What is going to make you happy and feel fulfilled? And it's not listening to what everyone else tells you, because everyone's going to have their own opinion on it and they're going to pull you in different directions. This is where you have to stop caring what other people think and what's normal, right? I don't care what's normal. I care what makes me happy, what makes me comfortable. If doing things that are normal make me uncomfortable, I'm not going to do them anymore. All of this is a choice. Once we realize that, a whole new world of opportunities opens up and it can better your life. So if any of this resonates with you, share it, like it, comment below like what helped you or what experiences you've had that are related to this. Just give me feedback, guys. Let me know. All right, have a great day. Make good choices. Be good people.